Hi everyone, and welcome to the start of a strange, unusual, and a bit uncertain fall semester. This is Environmental Studies 1000, and the way we're going to work this class is a bit with videos like this that'll be 5, 6, 7 minutes long. We'll also have live in-person lectures or interactive discussions, and then we'll have recitations, which will hopefully be in person for most of you and for most of the semester. Of course, we'll see how things go. But we know this is a difficult time. We're going to do our best to make sure that you get what you need out of this class and make sure that you learn a lot in this class and enjoy it. So with these videos, just watch them. You can always go back and look at them again. Some of this will appear on the quizzes that you do online. But just let us know if we can help you as you get through this class. And I'll look forward to seeing you in person at some point during the semester. All right, good luck and see you soon. Over the course of this semester, we're going to talk a lot about global environmental change. This is a massive topic and certainly more than we can cover in a few minutes on a video. But for today, I want to just give you a basic sense of the types of topics that we're going to cover during the class. So let's start with food systems. As I'm sure you know, there are a lot of people on the planet, almost 8 billion people alive today, and it takes a lot of food to feed all those people. For the ecosystems of the planet, that means a lot of change, and specifically a lot of land use change. We have remade about half of the non-ice covered surface of the planet to support food production. That's a massive change to global ecosystems. But food matters for a lot of other reasons as well, so let's take a quick look at some of the topics we'll cover in this class. Here are 3 key points about the food system that we can start with. The first one is production. Is there enough food for everyone today? Will there be enough in the future? How do you answer those questions? We'll get into that in the class, but one key part of the answer is to explore the imbalance in food consumption across the planet. And to understand that imbalance, we have to ask the question of why is food so overconsumed in some locations and yet still unavailable in others? Lastly, we'll have to talk about impact, and specifically how do we grow food with less environmental impact? If we can answer that question and solve the underlying problems in food production, then we will be a lot closer to a sustainable future. Next on our list today are land, water, and ecosystems. As I just mentioned, we've transformed the Earth's surface to support food production, but we've also done many other things. We build dams to store water, we build massive cities in the desert, and we as humans are present in practically every ecosystem on the planet, maybe with the exception of the deep ocean. So what does that all mean for the present and for the future? To understand global land use change and its implications, here are 3 things we need to talk about. First, how quickly are natural lands being lost? What causes that change and how can it be reduced? The answer to those questions is very complicated and varies a lot in countries around the world. Second issue, water. Are we going to run out of it? That's a key issue for many places around the world as we look toward 2050. And embedded in that question are a bunch of other issues. For example, should we use groundwater for agriculture, or should we save it for things like human consumption? What does that mean for places that are already using groundwater for irrigation, like the US? Lastly, we need to talk about ecosystems and biodiversity. We are in the midst of a great extinction event, and the loss of that biodiversity that is already underway will impact the future of our planet. These impacts are leading, in a good sense, to a lot of innovation in how we think about how we value the services that ecosystems provide to humanity and how we embed that in the decisions that we make. On to energy. I love talking about the energy system. I think our ability to capture, transfer, and use energy is one of the greatest achievements of humanity. But, and there's a big but, it also causes a lot of problems. Climate change being right at the front of that list. For energy, there are a number of things we'll cover in this class. We'll start with energy systems and ask the question of how these systems work. And importantly, why are we so dependent on fossil fuels? We can't talk about energy without then talking about impacts, and that includes how we reduce the impacts of energy production. At this point, you might be thinking, well, of course, solar energy or wind energy, and you would be correct. Renewable energy sources are growing rapidly and dramatically around the world. But despite this growth, there's still barriers that prevent the full incorporation of renewable energy sources into the global energy use and distribution system. But importantly, there are also many opportunities to speed up the use of renewables in our transportation and electricity systems. And last, but certainly not least, we need to talk about energy equity. And in this class, we have to ask the question, or at least try to answer the question, of why so many people still live on this planet without energy access. The answer to that question will tell us a lot about what energy use is going to look like in the coming decades. There are a lot of systems here, so let's just talk about one more big global system before we move on. Atmosphere and climate. I'm sure I don't need to tell anyone taking this class that our climate is changing and that our atmosphere is polluted in many places. Surprise! This slide might look a little different than what we've just gone over, and you might be wondering, what is data analysis doing in a class about global environmental change? The answer is that without data, or perhaps more importantly without an ability to analyze data, you will find it very hard to get a job in this field. We'll get into this in a lot more detail, but here are a few points to think about as we start down the path in this class. All right, so the first point is that data analysis is everywhere. And our ability to capture and manipulate and interpret large data sets is remaking our understanding of the planet. So some things we'll work on here include data management and manipulation. Yeah, that sounds a little boring, but in fact, it can actually be kind of fun. Think about this. You can soon be able to download data sets from the United Nations, the Food and Agriculture Organization, or British Petroleum. And you can see for yourself what's changing, how it's changing, and why it's changing. That's data analysis. We'll do a lot of that. A few key things that we'll learn how to do include looking at rates of change, basic statistics, and examining trends and comparing those trends to one another. That's all crucial for explaining where the world is going. Lastly, we're going to emphasize data interpretation, because what's the point of being able to manipulate data if you can't figure out what it means? So by the end of this class, you'll know a lot more about what you're looking at, what it means, and you'll be able to take that information and put it in the context of global environmental change. All right, we're done. That was a super fast overview of the course, and now we can move on with a couple of other introductory points to see what the rest of the class will look like.